Welcome to the Fighting For It podcast. My name is Tino. This is Joel, and we just want to thank y'all for just joining us today. Yeah,
What do you say we start with the Serenity Prayer?
okay.
Whose turn is it? I I nominate me. All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as He did this sinful world as it is, not as I would like it, trusting that He will make all things right if I surrender to His will, that I may be reasonably happy in this world and supremely happy in the next.
Mm,
It's always a good thing to start out with.
yeah,
We say it in the gym, we say it hiking, everywhere, at home with the families.
yeah.
So keep moving in that. And we're going to be talking about more of the fighting for today. We've gone through prayer, purpose, and today is going to be power, physical power, energy. Do you ever feel like you don't have enough energy
Mm.
for the day? That doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't. Now, there's probably not a simple answer for everyone, but for a lot of us, it might mean a lifestyle change.
Mm.
A lifestyle change. Now, what kind of lifestyle change are we talking about here?
I think more of the line of getting moving,
Getting moving.
get it moving, get active.
And how would you
Yeah.
suggest somebody start getting active, Tino?
Run a marathon, man. Just run it.
Just
Just run it.
wake up and just start running a marathon.
That's going to be the slogan. Wake up, just run it. uh, no, I think it's the main thing is just get active, get moving, because and it doesn't mean to just go hit the gym right away, right? It can be something as simple as getting up, getting up every hour on the hour, right? Um, I used to use that when, I would sit at my desk a lot. I'd have to get up and do something every hour, so that way I'm not sitting there for hours at a time just like this,
Yeah.
so they had a treadmill in the back of the office at one point, and I remember I was using it, and then it just disappeared. So I don't know where it went, but that was a good one because every hour I'd go over there and walk for like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. But it's just little habits that we can change in our lives, right? Another thing that I use is to get a little bit more steps in when I go to the store. What I'll do is I'll park far away from the store, just so I had to walk that way, walk to the store, and then walk in the store. Then I had to walk all the way back to the end. My wife didn't like it, but I enjoyed
You were rude. You went to the end of the parking lot. Here, walk.
it.
That's good though. It gets you moving.
Hmm.
So it's those small decisions. It doesn't have to be running a marathon.
Ain't nobody said all that.
Nobody said you don't have to. It's basically get moving. Get moving. That's the way we like to encourage people. Some of the largest muscles in your body are in your legs. And so when you just start walking, it doesn't have to be, well, maybe it does according to Tino, but does it have to be running the marathon? It could be just start walking, walk a lot, get around, move around.
Yeah, I laugh sometimes, man, because when we go out to the mountains, sometimes we're always hiking, we're always in the mountains, and I always crack up with my boys. I'm like, man, I wish I had elk legs, because man, they got some strong legs. And you can see them like when you're out there, you can see them, man. They clear the mountains, no problems. And even though they're animals, it's like, man, it'd be nice to be able to clear that mountain like that. Our 1 hour hike could be done in like 15 minutes. Just if I was out there every day, man, my legs would be like that.
Well, some people have really inspired me with just their energy level.
Mm.
And, I think some of us can be very discouraged. Like we just don't have energy. It could be our age. It could be our situation in life. We're not getting a lot of sleep, the kids. Of course, if we're talking about recovery, it could be a dependency issue where our body is not producing some of those the chemicals at the level our body would produce them naturally if we weren't using other substances.
Mm.
And so we may have to make some lifestyle changes that relates to, what we're actually putting in our body. But what we're trying to say here is while we are making those decisions for recovery, help ourselves out by get moving, because your body is going to change chemistry wise.
Mm.
You're going to start producing a little bit more of, the chemicals that actually start making you feel that energy. It's the dopamine. It's all of those things. So, but again, what we're not necessarily getting into the mechanics, the science of it all per se, but what we are saying is get moving. Just start moving.
Yeah, definitely. Because the less you move, the less you're gonna want to move.
Right.
And I really liked that when I heard that, man, because it made a lot of sense to me. When I wanted to kick back, when I wanted to lay around, whatever, I didn't want to do nothing. I wanted to just lay there, right? But when you start pushing yourself, even though I want to lay down, it's like, I got to take care of this, I got to do that, and you start moving, you start acting, and when the body gets going, you know what I mean? It's like that, it's like that 15-minute rule. And I think it's just, for me, it's a mental thing, the 15-minute rule. You set your mind on something, and then you take all distractions aside, and then you just do what you were planned to do, right?
Within 15 minutes
within
of
15
thinking of it, or
No, just like 15 minutes. You set yourself 15 minutes, boom.
oh,
And then
a time slot.
yeah. So
Okay.
and normally a lot of times what happens is, and this doesn't just work just for working out. It can work for like getting some notes done, getting homework done, getting things that need to get done, right? Um, you slot give yourself that time, put the phone away, maybe even turn off the TV. If you got a computer, unless you're working on a computer. But turn all the distractions off and focus on that one thing for like 15 minutes. Normally, by that time you're done with that 15 minute, you have already built the momentum to keep going.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's like that. Like, because I remember when there's times I didn't want to do yard work, right? But I was like, I got to get it done. So you set that 15 minutes. By the time that 15 minutes is up, you're not thinking about the time no more. You're just on the go, right? You're moving.
So you can give yourself permission in those 15 minutes. Like, hey, I'm gonna start this in 15 minutes. If I need to finish it in 15 minutes and just be done with it, I'm gonna give myself permission to just be done.
Mhm.
But you're saying that most of the time you have kind of crossed that, that barrier that says,
threshold.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think part of it is just building the momentum to do something. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. I mean, unless you're running, obviously, then 15 minutes is a long time.
But it's like you said, the less you move, the less you want to move. I think of that another way of saying that too is use it or lose it.
Mm.
And that's so true of energy. So we have heard a lot of people in their recovery journey say the reason that they are using is because of just, I need energy.
Mm. Man, I've been there. I know what that's like. It's not a pretty sight, because I remember when I was in that section of life, it's like I had to have that substance there. If it wasn't there, then I didn't want to do nothing. I became the laziest man in the world. Everything just didn't grab my attention. Everything was dull, and it's just like nothing excited me until I heard like, oh, that substance is on its way, or hey, somebody's stopping by and they have whatever it is, right? And all of a sudden your energy will spike up. And all of a sudden you got all this energy, you cleaning the house, doing what you got to do, getting prepared, But really, I think personally, my thoughts is like maybe I had the energy there, but my mindset wasn't there, right? It's one of those mind over matter things, but because I didn't have it, it's like, oh, why I need it to function. I need it, and reality, I probably didn't, because obviously I remember those times where all of a sudden I jumped up, you know what I mean? I was up and I was getting the house clean, whatever it was, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And our bodies learn to use, what's available to us, and it starts to adjust to that kind of lifestyle as well.
Mhm.
And then it's like a cycle, you feel depressed. And so you use, but even if we're not talking about drug dependency. What if we could just be talking about exercise? Like, well, I feel depressed because I'm not exercising, so I'm not going to exercise, which makes me feel like I'm not accomplishing anything, and so it's a cycle.
Hmm.
And I like what you said. Just try something for 15 minutes and see what happens. That's good.
Yeah. Give it a try, you guys. Give it a try.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be super complicated. Matter of fact, CDC says that physical activity only needs for adults, it only needs to be at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity a week. So 150 minutes. Divide that by 3, so we got, a little less than 3 hours maybe.
Yeah.
That's not bad. A week, but maybe 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week could be something like that. That's not bad.
Yeah. There's something that you did that really grabbed my attention and made the time go by a little quicker is you would time a walk.
Oh,
When we first started doing our prayer walks,
uh-huh.
you would time it out. You say, okay, we're going to walk for 30 minutes. So I'm going to time 15 minutes and we'll time the 15 minute out that way. And then obviously you got to walk back. So there's the other 15 minutes, right? It made it just so much doable, I think is what it is. You know what I mean? Instead of like, oh, I'm going to walk. Well, how far do you walk? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. So that took that, how'd you say? It made it simple. Made it a lot easier, a lot more simpler. And I use that now.
Nice. Well,
So,
there's your 15 minutes.
right.
Hey, I'm going to go walking out for 15 minutes. All right, time to walk back. And it's another 15 minutes, but
Mhm.
you don't think about it that way.
Well, you think about it too. Like even if you do 7 minutes, you're gonna see how fast 7 minutes actually goes when you're walking somewhere.
All right.
It goes so quick it doesn't even feel like 7 minutes, right? I noticed that about 15 minutes. So that's what I'm saying about 7 minutes. Because when it was like 15 or we walk for an hour, we walk out for 30 minutes. And it's like, I don't know where the alarm went off, right? And it's like, oh wow, that time went by quick.
We're talking about the fighting for 4 areas of life: prayer, purpose, power, people. And the reason that this is so important is because a lot of times when we are, we're trying to be a holistic person, we are trying to be healthy,
Mhm.
or we are in our recovery. It's so easy to neglect our physical bodies.
Mm.
And the reason we're focusing on it is because God focuses on it.
Mhm.
And God says in the Bible that our bodies are a temple.
Mm.
That word temple, what does that word temple mean to you? When you hear the word temple, it's if our bodies are a temple, what does that mean? This is the part where I'm coming to the expert. It's your turn.
Oh, I don't know about the expert, but the way I understand that, it's just like, this is God's temple, is his place where he dwells, right?
Yeah.
And, we got to take care of that, because he only gave us just one body, right? One body we got to take care of, and we got to take care of it, by any means, whether it be getting moving, watching what you eat, because those two go hand in hand, right? If you want to work out, you want to exercise, you want to get moving,
Mhm.
you got to start learning how to adjust and start or fixing your eating patterns. Because if you work out and you're just eating whatever, you're going to probably be burnt out when you're working out. You know what I mean? You're going to feel it. So those two things go hand in hand, right? Yeah. So just taking care of the body, watching for signs. I had a brother of mine that just recently, he said that I was talking to him yesterday, and he said that he was going about his day, and all of a sudden he had a hard time breathing. And so he said something didn't feel right. And for me, I probably would have brushed like, oh, I'm okay. Once it went away, I'll probably be like, oh, that's all right. I'm okay now. But he said, I need to go get this checked out. So he went to go get it checked out. And sure enough, he had a blood clot,
Wow.
so they did the whole process and he's still recovering, but if he wasn't taking care of his body, what would have happened, right? So watch out for signs in your body as well too.
Yeah. And we may not think ourselves to be that important. We might be thinking, oh, it's not It's not about me. I really just care about somebody else. I don't care what happens to me. How many times have we heard that? And we're like, no, no, don't say that. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to be healthy enough to take care of somebody else?
Mm.
I like something I heard one time recently. It was something to the effect of take care of yourself like you are responsible to take care of somebody else. You may not think that you're important enough. You may be at a stage in life where you're thinking, I just don't like who I am. I'm not proud of my decisions. But that only leads you into kind of a dead end because you're not going to be there for somebody else that really needs you,
Mm.
and you're tearing yourself down. That's one of the reasons I love the Bible, because it builds us up. It says you are important.
Mm.
Your body is a temple of God.
Mm.
Like, who has ever said anything that amazing about our physical body, just to say that it does matter what you do to your body, because God wants to dwell in you. He wants to live in you.
Mhm.
You are his house. Like, a lot of people think, oh, when I go into church, got to take off the hat, got to be respectful, which is great. But do you have that kind of respect for your own body?
Mm.
And do you think of yourself as that important that God says, has to say that you are my temple? The problem is we just don't often think about it like that. We don't really believe of that we have that level of significance, and we should. And that's the amazing thing. And so we're just operating in faith in that and saying, look, if that's true, get moving. Just do something really simple. Do that 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, or just do 150 minutes, spread it out a little bit, like the CDC says.
Mhm.
Whatever that is, keep it simple. You don't have to run the marathon. You don't have to get into a boxing match.
Hey,
You
hey,
don't.
hey, hey, hey,
Okay, maybe the
hey.
marathon, but simple, simple.
Yeah.
Just walk. Start simple and see what happens.
Yeah. I heard it one time too that even something as simple as just getting up out of your chair, that's a workout, right?
Right.
Because you're using different muscles. You're using your muscles to get up and do something, get up, sit down. So, you know, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, you know, things like that. There's many ways that you can work out without actually saying, like, hey, this is a workout,
Right.
and it starts off with the little habits, the parking far away, the taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Maybe it's I'm gonna go outside and water the grass instead of stay inside and watch a movie, you know,
Exactly.
things like that. So,
Oh, that's a big thing. We're talking about getting moving. You want to talk about what keeps a lot of people from moving is watching movies.
ooh, saw that coming.
It's true. It's
Uh,
so true. We spend so much of our time watching other people live their lives. And it actually, as bad as a lot of, we'll watch a tragedy or something and something really bad happens, but we're always like sitting back watching, like, I could do that.
mm.
I could do that, until it really happens in our life. And then we're like, I can't get through this, because we're so busy watching. And movies are only what normally an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Yeah.
something like that. And we do start to get into our brains that everything in life can be resolved in 2 hours. Like,
Mm.
why would we think that? Because it happens
In
on the TV
movie.
show or the movies or whatever it is. And
Mm.
and you can turn off the problem anytime you want. The movie is in this real deep plot twist or whatever. You just turn it off and you got to go somewhere else. Life is really not like that. So I think one of the things about getting moving, it's getting real.
Mm. Being real with self.
Mhm. It's hard. It's not easy. It may feel like you don't have the background music going on all the time, and and if you've kind of hit that point where a lot of your life is being lived in front of a screen or in front of your phone, this would just be a good reminder. You don't need that.
Ooh, you just said something that's another thing that takes probably a lot more time than movies is your phone.
Right.
How many times do you see people stuck on their phones everywhere they go, just sit there glued to the phone and when they could be out doing something, you know? It's sad when I think about it sometimes too. It's like, a lot of times what I hear about, it's like parenting with the phone. Instead of going out there playing baseball with the kids and interacting, doing stuff, it's like, here, go over there. And how much the kids lose out on, right?
Yeah.
And how much we lose out on from not being interactive and not moving around. So I don't know. That just came to mind.
Yeah. What is the statistics right now about depression in youth is, I think it's double what it was that 30 years ago? Don't quote me on that, but that's a good one to look up because you'll see it everywhere. Like depression is on the rise, anxiety. And they relate a lot of it to exactly.
It's the comparison.
Oh,
You know,
right.
that comparison really is a killer. It's a joy killer. It's the thief of time, because a lot of times, what you see on the phone is not reality, right? You see the highlights of people's lives. And, when you have these younger kids not mature enough to see that, right? They just see, oh, look, they're at Red Lobster all the time, or they're at Olive Garden, or they're here and there. And here I am with my bologna sandwich, you know?
Yep.
Because no one's not going to post their bologna sandwich. You know what I mean? But they'll
Yeah.
post all the good stuff, the hot wings, this and that, right? But you think about put yourself in the youth shoes for a second. Oh, I don't have enough money to go to Olive Garden right now. I don't have. Oh, they're living it up. Oh, they're at the beach right now. They're on their family vacation, and here I am, just home on the phone.
Yeah.
And it can really get like that. And so I could see where that depression can come from. You know what I mean? And that comparison, it could really steal your joy, and really, it is the killer of joy. It's the killer of, you know, yeah, you know. So I don't know, just my thoughts, but
Yeah. And it is, yeah, comparison is a killer.
it's just I don't know. It's sad, because for me, when my generation was, we didn't have that much. We had phones, but it wasn't like that where you just can look up everything, scroll through everything. It wasn't like that. The most we had was Tetris on our phone.
Oh, wow. Still a winner.
Yeah. And they had the indestructible phones where you can drop it about 40, 50 times and you barely got a dent in it. Nokia.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. To now, it's just like I can see where that depression can really come from, and it's just saddening at times.
Yeah. And that also causes a lot of arguments. So, seriously, if somebody ever snaps at you and like gets really aggravated all out of nowhere, and you're like, why are you so upset? What did I say? Watch how many times it's they're looking into their phone,
Mm.
because there's something about being unable to focus on too many things at once. So you're looking at your phone, somebody's talking, you're not really answering them. They say something, you're just like, hey, come on, will you just leave me alone or whatever it is, because you're looking at your phone. Watch how many times.
Mm.
So if you get in an argument with somebody at your home or whatever else, just look, are they on their phone? And if they are, maybe it's not because they're really upset at you. It's just because they can't divide their attention that
Mm.
quickly, and I think that happens a lot.
Mm.
Watch that happen next time. If somebody snaps at you, see, were they on their phone when they did that? And tell them. It's like, hey, could you take a break from your phone for just a minute? Oh, they'll probably get upset again right before they put it down. What do you want? Okay, fine. I'm looking at you. It's like, and I've done that so many times where I'm like, somebody says something in one of my family or kids or something, and I kind of snap, like, hey, just get this real quick impulsive response.
Mm.
They're like, why are you upset? And then I'm like, oh, I see what I'm doing.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to put this down. I am listening to you right now.
Mhm.
What does this have to do with moving around? A lot. Stop depending on those devices to be all of your entertainment.
Remember, Google can't work out for you. It may give you the info, but it can't get you moving.
There's a cricket on the background. Is that your conscience right there?
Yep.
Jiminy has left the house. I just saw this big cricket walking in the background. Sorry about that.
Trying to show you how to get moving, man. And
Get moving. He's like me. He's our conscience is telling all of us, Get moving. No, so a simple way to do that is like Tino said, just go for a walk. Visit a gym. I love taking people to a gym and saying, we're not going to work out today. All we're going to do is walk into the gym, meet the head person, ask, what do I have to do to sign up? Or just look around at the equipment and just say, I did it. I made it to the gym. The next time you go, you will be that much more interested in getting on one of the treadmills or trying something, but just take baby steps.
Mm.
You know, we are big fans of go slow, take those baby steps, those small steps. As long as you're doing that, we see too many people taking big leaps. I've had people come into the gym for a personal training session, and our main goal sometimes, Tino, we do this a lot where we're just telling people, hey, take it easy. This is your first time, or this is your first week, first month. Just go easy here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do want to do, it's the marathon, you know, it is the long term. We're not trying to like prove ourselves today,
Mm-hmm.
but we're here for a reason. I'm getting this cricket. Is it on? No, it fell off. It fell off. It did hit you. Sorry. Okay. Back to, what were we talking?
Well, as I think about the gym and stuff like that too, you know, when you start getting in that place of wanting to go to the gym, you also build community in those areas too.
Right.
And that can also help you in your recovery. We need that. Sometimes we need that, you know, like you're doing good, keep going, you know, and sometimes we don't get that, you know, and then at the gym, sometimes you can find that, you know, because normally you know, I think about when I first started going to the gym, how many times I went to the gym without working out, and I ended up talking to people over there, you know, and it's interesting because I ran into firefighters, gunsmiths, um, you know, police officers, Marines, you know, recovering addicts. You know, it's like a place where they all come together, right? And they're not necessarily all coming together to talk to one another, but you know, it helps you build that community that, you know, at the end of the day, we're kind of all searching for. You know what I mean? And if it's in that sense of like someone to push you to continue to get moving, because that's what you're gonna find at the gym. Nobody's not gonna go over there to sit around and talk. You know, everyone wants to get their workout in. That's why they
Right.
go to the gym. And when you start building that community, you know, maybe it can pull you out of the community that you once had. And I think about myself because when I was in my addiction, that's all the people I kept around me. The people that used, the drug addicts, the drug dealers, you know what I mean? Everyone that revolved around it, who can give me a ride, this and that. But when you start stepping into that new community, when you start wanting to get moving and you start building those other people, you know what I mean? That will motivate you to do it right. Overall, it's an overall change, you know? So I don't know, just some thoughts that came to mind.
That's right. And you know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask you a question anyway. But what is the number one reason people stick to a workout or exercise program? The number one reason is exactly what you just said. It's you have accountability and community with other people.
Hmm.
It's not the fact that you wanted big muscles and you're actually getting them and getting results. That's good too. There's a lot of reasons, but the number one thing that keeps people coming back is that there are other people. Like we are built for relationship and community. So great point. If you get moving, you are actually working towards not just being healthy in that way, but also the next one that we're going to talk about next week, which is people, prayer, purpose, power, and people. But before we go to that, I do want to just read a scripture verse. Like if you're listening to this and you're just thinking, I don't have the energy to get started. I just am depleted. I've got good news for you. There is strength for the weary, the tired, the broken down. If you are that person, I want to read a scripture verse from the book of Isaiah, and it talks about who God is. And it says, it says in Isaiah 40:29, He gives strength to the faint and strengthens the powerless. Youths may become faint and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on, it didn't say actually, but I'm putting that in there.
Mhm.
They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not become weary. They will walk and not faint. Who is that? The young men? No. Those who trust in the Lord. So this is all kind of working together. We talked about prayer, trusting in God, really finding God as your higher power, your highest power,
Mm.
and how it affects all of our life, whether we're talking about finding purpose, finding enough energy, power, all those things.
Mm.
So just want to encourage you, don't give up. It's not over. Wherever you're at, whatever you have experienced. Tino kind of pointed out a scripture verse. Maybe you want to read this one. It's Matthew 11:28. Yeah, you got a version you want to read?
Yeah, I think got that.
So it's Matthew 28. This is Jesus talking about what do you do if you feel like you're just tired?
And it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. I will give you rest." Man, what does that tell you? It tells you that in those times when you have a heavy heart, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you just want to throw in the towel, when you're feeling tired, he says, "Come to me, and I'll give you rest." I'll be the one to strengthen you. Right? Goes hand in hand, kind of with your scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Give me rest. I'll give you rest, and I will strengthen you for what is to come. Right? Or what you're going through. That you don't have to carry this all on your own. That it's not all on you.
Mm-hmm.
That God is with you and He's there to take those burdens.
And you'll find the energy then.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody else is carrying all those heavy burdens, you'll find the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So great. Thank you for joining us with the Fighting For podcast. Have a great rest of your week.